Test, test. Okay, good evening. Welcome to the City of Northfield Annual Reorganization Meeting. This is January 5th of 2021. This meeting was properly advertised in accordance with Public Law 1975, Chapter 231 in the Press of Atlantic City on January 2nd of 2021. Due to social distancing requirements related to COVID-19, there are limited seats for in-person attendance. By members of the public. For this reason, the meeting is also being presented simultaneously as a remote public meeting live streamed using Zoom conferencing service and in accordance with the Governor's executive orders and the Open Public Meetings Act. Zoom meeting participants can dial in by telephone and listen to the proceedings, or they can access the meeting using a web browser and be able to view and listen. Instructions on how members of the public could reserve one of the limited seats, as well as how they can access Zoom, have been made available on the municipal website and were published in the Press of Atlantic City. The full text of the public meeting notice has also been posted at the entrance to the municipal building and includes Zoom instructions, information on where to find the meeting agenda and relevant documents, as well as instructions on how members of the public could submit comments in advance of tonight's meeting. For those participating via Zoom, all participants will be muted upon entry to the meeting. Web browser participants will not be able to share their screens or see the camera view of anyone other than the host, which is the City of Northfield. Zoom participants wishing to exercise their right to participate during the public comment portion of the meeting should wait until the specific announcement is made to open the public comment period. At this time, one by one, any telephone users will be asked to identify themselves and will be unmuted to permit commentary. For web browser participants, comments or questions may be submitted via the chat function, but will not be acknowledged outside of the designated public comment portion of the meeting. Chat users must also provide his or her name and address for the record in order to be heard. Any written comments submitted in advance of the meeting will be read aloud and addressed during the public comment portion of the meeting, but for this evening's meeting, we've received no advance request for public comment. May I have a flag salute led by Councilman Perry, please?
Please rise. Attention salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mr. Deweese.
Here.
Mrs. Madden.
Here.
Mr. Notaro.
Here.
Mr. Perry.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Here.
And Mr. Utz.
Here.
Thank you. The first item on our agenda is the oaths of office to the newly elected officials. Councilman Notaro had his oath of office administered over the weekend, so he will not be having a ceremonial oath this evening since he's already been sworn. Councilman Notaro, would you like to say a few words?
Sure, I would love to. First off, thank you, Mary, for all your attention to detail in making this transition smooth. If anybody out there in Zoom can't hear me, please just let us know so I can make adjustments for that as well, because sometimes you can't hear people talk. So, due to the pandemic, we opted to have ours on the 1st, so we wouldn't be at the level of over the COVID level. I'd like to thank the mayor and Councilman Smith for coming out on the 1st. Very nice of you. They opened up the shop for me, and we had the oath administered by Congressman Van Drew. Very nice of him to come down and do that. I'd like to thank Eric Leeds. Eric was our campaign manager, and him and a lot of new friends we met along the way. It's quite an interesting campaign in COVID times. So I'd like to thank all those people that helped me out. Craig, I'd like to thank Craig for coming out on the 1st. And then the voters, all the voters that voted for me, and the ones that didn't. I'm going to have 3 years to win them over. And that's pretty much what it's all about. So lastly, and most importantly, my family, my wife Belinda, my son Aiden, my daughter Olivia and Avery. Without their support, I wouldn't be sitting here. That's for sure. So, with that, 2020 has been a trying year. I'm looking forward to 2021 and doing some great things with some people that I've known in the past and then sat up here with. Mary was coming in when I was going out the last time, and Frank's been here ever since. I think he took a year off or a couple years, 2 years. So looking forward to rekindling these relationships. So with that said, look forward to a positive and prosperous new year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Notaro. And for the record, Mayor Chow is attending this evening via Zoom. He is not attending with us here in person, but he is on the meeting. The next item on the agenda is the official oath of office for Councilman Palestina, to be administered by his brother, William Palestina. So, Tom, where are you? I'd like to come forward with your brother, William. And then Tom is accompanied by his fiancee, Patty Larson, his daughter, Marissa. His daughter, Courtney, can't be here with us this evening, but I do believe she's on the Zoom call. His mom, Rita Palestina, is here, as well as his sisters, are Lisa Damiano and Debbie Kolmetsky here as well. Okay, everybody come forward. And then the oath of office, I believe, there you go.
I guess repeat after me. I, Thomas Palestina. I, Thomas Palestina. Do solemnly swear or affirm. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of New Jersey. And the Constitution of the State of New Jersey. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. And to the governments established in the United States and in this state. And to the governments established in the United States and to this state. Under the authority of the people. Under the authority of the people. And that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties. And that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties. Of the office of Council 2nd Ward, member of the City of Northfield. Of the Office of Council, 2nd Ward in the City of Northfield. According to the best of my ability, so help me God. According to the best of my ability, so help me God. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Do they sign it? Do they sign it?
Yep.
Okay.
He's a professional.
The sound is good.
Oh, good.
Okay.
You guys get some pictures or?
You got some, Eric? Yep.
Okay.
We have somebody take it.
Thank you all. And Councilman Palestina, if you can take your seat on the dais, please. And I will recall roll in if you'd like to say a few words as well. So we have a roll call of Mr. Deweese,
Here.
Mrs. Madden,
Here.
Mr. Notaro,
Here.
Mr. Perry,
Here.
Mr. Palestina,
Here.
Mr. Smith,
Here.
and Mr. Utz.
Here.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you all. I just wanted to, first of all, thank my family. Obviously, everyone just met them. Thanks for being here, support me. Thank you, Patty, for your support throughout this campaign, and I know going forward. My daughter Marissa, my brother, thank you, Bill, for swearing me in. My mom's here. My two sisters, Lisa and Debbie, and my daughter Courtney, who can't be here right now, but her support as well during all this. I'd like to thank all the council persons that carried over for a great job well done over your terms, and looking forward to working with all of you. I'm back again with Frank because Frank's always here, and I worked with Brian prior, and we're back, and as well with Mayor Chow. And of course, couldn't be here without the voters. I'd like to thank all the voters in Northfield. What I believe was a record turnout. It was amazing, and hopefully that engagement and that involvement will continue. Hopefully once we're able to have meetings open again, we'll have this room filled again, like it's been in the past several times. And what I can tell you is that I'll work very hard for the city, make sure there's transparency, and then hopefully it'll be for the betterment of the city and make Northfield continue to be a great place we all love. That's all. Thank you very much.
Welcome back, Tom, and Dave. Good to have you back.
Thank you.
Looking forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item up on the agenda will be the election of a council president for calendar year 2021. So the floor is now open for nominations for council president for year 2021.
I'd like to nominate Tom Palestina, please.
Second.
I have a nomination for Tom Palestina for council president. Are there any other nominations? Seeing no other nominations, the floor is now closed for nominations. So I will need a motion and a second, please, for the election of Tom Palestina to the office of council president for calendar year 2021.
I'd like to make a motion to elect Tom Palestina, council president, 2021.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Deweese.
Yes.
Mrs. Madden.
Yes.
Mr. Notaro.
Yes.
Mr. Perry.
Yes.
Mr. Palestina.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
And Mr. Utz.
Yes.
Motion carries for the election of Tom Palestina as council president for calendar year 2021. Congratulations, Mr. President.
Thank you. Okay. May I have nominations to elect a council president pro tem for 2021?
I'd like to nominate Greg Deweese for President Pro Tem.
Any other nominations?
There is no second required.
Okay.
So with no other nominations, you'll need a motion. And a
Okay.
second, and then I'll call a vote.
Okay, since there are no other nominations, I'll need a motion to elect Council President Pro Tempore, Greg Deweese as President Pro Tempore.
I'd like to make the necessary nomination to elect Greg Deweese as Council President Pro Tem for 2021.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, so this is the motion to vote. Roll call, Mr. Deweese,
Yes.
Mrs. Madden,
Yes.
Mr. Notaro,
Yes.
Mr. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Utz.
Yes.
Mr. Palestina.
Yes.
Motion carries for the election of Greg Deweese as council president pro tem for calendar year 2021.
Okay, before we get into everything, I'd like to take a 5-minute recess.
You need a motion second, sorry to tell you.
Can I get a motion?
Motion to recess for 5 minutes.
Second?
And then just say all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I like that.
The power.
No, I just like that.
Yeah. It's one of those, it's not easy. You're right. You're like, I do.
Turn your microphone off because then everyone can't hear you telling him what to do. Up to you.
That was on for sure.
No,
Oh, it's live.
When I logged in.
Let's call the meeting back to order. Okay, would everyone please refer to your agendas? Approval of minutes, Councilman Perry, please.
Be the first and a second.
And, oh, we do. Second, Councilperson Barber, Madden. Resolutions, is there any resolutions that anyone would like to hold separately? Okay.
Council President, I actually would like to pull 23 and 21.
23. Okay,
What number is that, Ron?
23.
just 23, okay.
23.
23, 20,
Dash 2021.
dash 2021,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, so consent agenda for resolutions 1-2021 through 22-2021 and 24-2021 through 31-2021. Greg Deweese, Councilman Deweese, and second, Councilman Notaro. Resolution 23-2021, Councilman Smith. Councilman Ott, second, please. Payment of the bills, Councilman Smith. Second, Councilperson Madden. And meeting notices, Councilperson Madden. Okay. Regarding the consent agenda, all matters under the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and having been reviewed by council will be enacted by one motion. Any item removed from the consent agenda at the request of any council member, and if so removed, will be treated as a separate matter. Any items requiring expenditure are supported by a certificate of availability of funds. So we've already done this. Are there any council matters that a member of council would like voted on separately? Or are there any other questions from council? Yes.
Not related to resolution. We had a little discussion earlier. I'd like to put it on record if you don't mind.
Certainly.
It's the chairperson of the fire department and EMS, which is what I currently hold. And I did discuss with you, I'd like to maintain that chair. And I was thinking perhaps Mr. Notaro could be the assistant chair, and I think we would make a pretty good team on that. So I would like you to consider that alternative.
Absolutely. We'll go through I'll go through the committees again and see what we need, what, if and what we can move around.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Certainly. Any other questions? Okay. Approval of the minutes?
Motion to dispense with the reading minutes that have been posted, distributed on council, and filed in the municipal clerk's office.
Second.
Okay. Roll call?
Mr. Deweese,
Yes.
Mrs. Madden,
Yes.
Mr. Notaro,
Yes.
Mr. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Utz,
Yes.
Mr. Palestina.
Yes.
Motion carries for the approval of minutes December 15th of 2020.
At this time, I'd like to open the public session. This meeting is now open for the public for anyone to speak on any subject. Please state your name and address for the record, and please observe a 5-minute limit per speaker. Anyone on Zoom?
I did enter into the Zoom chat advising all those participating that the public comment portion of the meeting is now open. I don't have any comments as of yet. There is sometimes a little bit of a delay, so if we can just give it a moment.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Palestina, I do believe there are no comments from those participating via Zoom.
Okay. Seeing no one wishing to speak, public session is now closed. Resolutions?
I'd like to make the necessary motion to adopt resolutions 1, 2021 through 22, 2021, 24, 21 to 31, 2021. Consent agenda.
Second that motion?
Roll call?
All in favor of voting by consent agenda on resolutions 1 through 22 and 24 through 31 of 2021?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the consent agenda, resolutions 1, 2021 through 22, 2021, 24, 2021 to 31, 2021.
Second that motion?
Roll call?
Mr. Deweese,
Yes.
Mrs. Madden,
Yes.
Mr. Notaro,
Yes.
Mr. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Utz,
Yes.
Mr. Palestina.
Yes.
Motion carries for the adoption of the consent agenda.
Okay, resolution 23, 2021. Discussion?
Yeah, I wanted that pulled, really for a simple reason. I spoke with Mr. Facenda earlier today, and in the discussion, we were talking about the second in case there was a conflict for Mr. Facenda who's unable to make it. And he indicated that who he had indicated as RFP would have some conflicts and therefore not be able to necessarily fulfill that role. So I just want to make the recommendation that in replace of that lawyer, that we appoint Michael Testa, who also had submitted an application for RFP, as the conflict attorney, if there is a conflict for Mr. Facenda.
For purposes of clarification, normally the solicitor would pay the conflict person because he is paid retainer. Is Mr. Facenda going to be paying Mr. Testa?
Sure.
But that's how that works. We pay a retainer for this particular solicitor to attend the council meetings. So if his conflict person attends and it's someone else, I just need to make sure that everybody understands. And that doesn't have to be how it is. If it's different, you just need to state that here so it's in the record. Any different arrangement is acceptable. I just don't want anybody to make any assumptions. Can you ask for somebody
Okay.
to confirm that on the record, please? Is that confirmed on the record then?
I need to say that.
I'm asking, so.
Yeah. Okay, so that's confirmed record that,
Yeah.
yeah, saying you would have paid your other, you would have paid your
Yes,
other conflict attorney, so then,
Yeah, and assuming it's something that's in the retainer fee, absolutely, I would compensate the replacement or the conflict attorney. If it's something like litigation that I would have a conflict with, something that I would bill outside of my retainer, I would just submit that person submit to the city, just like I would in that case, if that's okay with the city.
I have some questions.
yes,
Excuse me, Mr. Casenda, the person that you were going to use as a conflict person? I
Yes.
just want to clarify a few things, because I'm a little confused.
Sure.
That person would represent a conflict in some issues?
Yeah, what happened was I spoke with Mr. Manos, who was my backup in the years when I served as solicitor here before. He's developed a little bit of a land use practice here in Northfield, so he appears before the planning and zoning board occasionally.
Okay.
For that reason, he would not be able to serve as my conflict attorney due to his conflict with the city.
Absolutely, I understand. So then, Mr. Testa, if like, say he was needed, you would
okay.
reimburse him, except for what reason was there, why he would bill the city?
Sure, if it was work that was like, if it was just attendance at a meeting, say one night I couldn't make a meeting, and that a meeting is typically handled in the retainer portion of the compensation package for the solicitor. I would certainly reimburse Mr. Testa through that retainer for his time. If, for instance, I don't know, my wife filed a suit against the city of Northfield for some reason, disqualifying me from being the attorney for the city, I would submit that whoever took that representation, which in that case would probably be the JIF, so it's probably a bad example. But if for some reason, there would be compensation due to my firm at an hourly rate from the city, I would just submit that instead of getting me paid,
You would get it to you.
the other person would. Yeah, so it's sort of apples to apples.
Okay, I understand that. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that.
Sure.
Can we just draft something that would be acceptable to all parties and
Absolutely.
submit that at a future date?
And you don't have any other people that you would recommend?
I don't have any other recommendations.
The language isn't in the resolution, so would we amend the?
Well, the conflict, I think the conflict's not in
Resolution.
the resolution anyway.
Right.
So it's just a matter of, for,
Yes.
The agreement.
yeah, just a
Maybe
matter
we'll
of,
do a
just,
resolution at the next meeting, appointing him as the conflict solicitor, and then we
Yep.
can.
okay,
do that.
yes, that would work, thank you. Okay, do I have a motion then for resolution 2321?
I'd like to make the motion to adopt resolution 23-2021. Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Deweese,
Yes.
Mrs. Madden,
So it's not going to be a resolution for next meeting?
this
This
is the
is-
resolution to appoint Mr. Facenda under resolution number 23 as solicitor.
Yes.
Mr. Notaro,
Yes.
Mr. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Utz.
Yes.
Mr. Palestina.
Yes,
Motion carries for the adoption of resolution 23 of 2021.
Thank you, everyone.
that's adopted.
Mhm.
Okay. Payment of bills?
Make the motion to authorize payment of the bills in the amount of $24,730.66.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Deweese?
Yes.
Mrs. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. Notaro?
Yes.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Utz?
Yes.
Mr. Palestina?
Yes.
Motion carries for payment of bills.
Meeting notices?
Very brief, only notice, the next, city council meeting is on January 19th, 6 P.M. is the work session and regular session immediately following.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Did you read that? See your
Oh,
name.
senior notice. I'm sorry, I apologize. I did want to mention one item. Mary brought to my attention, the New Jersey senior freeze. That has been extended to February 1st. So please, anyone that knows a senior that has not filed yet, since that window is still open for them, it's a wonderful program, and hopefully they can take advantage of that and have some tax savings on their property taxes. With that, do I have a motion for adjournment?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
I was going to take my mask off. I think I'm gonna walking outside.
Look.